Writing a research proposal is a type of scientific writing which should satisfy the same essential requirements of writing an original article as previously mentioned in the lecture of how to write an original article. This should include a basic triad of scientific writing starting by the subject, then the basic knowledge of the structure of the research proposal, and the third essential requirement is the basic knowledge of the mechanics of writing. The first of the basic triad of writing a research proposal is a subject that is worthwhile to be reported. As stated in the lecture of how to write an original article, there should be an addition to the already existing literature, so you have to read the relevant literature carefully, and you have to make sure that you are not repeating what had been done successfully before. The hypothesis of your research project must be very clear and adds something new to the already existing literature. I am always saying that it is better to spend 2 weeks reading in the library than 2 years working in the lab. If you spend 2 weeks reading in the library, then you are going to do a perfect protocol. And when you follow this protocol, at the end, you will be able to publish your work in one of the international journals. But on the other hand, if you rush and you start working before thinking, you may stay working for 2 years in the lab, and at the end, you may not be able to publish your work. So don't waste your time in writing a research proposal which will never see the daylight. The most common phrase used by the reviewer to reject a research proposal is, "There is no addition to the already existing literature." The second item of the basic triad of writing a research proposal is the basic knowledge of writing of the manuscript. This is the list of contents of the research proposal. We start by the cover page, then the abstract, introduction and background, the objectives, materials and methods, the budget, the time schedule of the research proposal, or what we call the Gantt chart, then the project management, then the project statement, then the expected outcome, then the references, and at last, an endorsement letter. The cover page should contain the title, the names of the authors, the affiliations, and the other data as indicated in every type of proposals. The title must be informative, specific, comprehensive, and accurate, stating exactly what you mean. You have to convey the maximum information with the minimum of words. The title should express at least the main issue of the study and the type of the study. There are two types of titles. The first is declarative title, which declares the conclusion. The declarative title is not suitable for the proposal because the conclusion is not yet available and it is not recommended for the original article. The second type of title is indicative, which states the subject and not the conclusion. It is obligatory for the research proposal and not recommended for the original article. The title should be considered again, and again when the project proposal is finished, and the final title is the last sentence to be written in the research proposal. Regarding writing the names, please follow my advice on how to write your name in the lecture of how to write an original article. Some of the research funders request adding some special information such as shown in this sheet, which is specific to the Science and Technology Development Fund, which is a major research funder in Egypt. You can observe here the title of the project, then the name of the applicant, then the specialty of the applicant, the affiliation of the applicant, and the requested budget, and the duration of the research proposal, and the date of submission, then the type of the grant. These are the different types of the grants, and here is the maximum budget and the maximum lifetime in years, and here is the maximum age of the applicant. Some of the grant types necessitate a special age as 40 or less than 40 years of age. And here are some additional information. Then the area of the project, whether it is in the basic sciences, in the engineering sciences, in the nanotechnology, in the medical sciences, in the agriculture, or in the humanities and the social sciences. After the cover page, there will be the abstract. The abstract is the first to appear and the last to be written, and it will be discussed at the end of this lecture. After the abstract, there will be the section of introduction. Some of the reviewers consider the section of introduction as the most important part of the entire project because it sets the tone and the quality of the project. How a writer begins will determine whether his reader bothers to go on or to stop reading his proposal. The section of introduction consists of 6 fundamental parts. Number 1 is definition of the problem. Number 2 is short review. Number 3, problems and limitations. Number 4, how to avoid the problems. Number 5, what will you add? And number 6, your previous experience. The first fundamental part of the section of introduction is definition of the problem. You have to define the nature of the problem addressed by your proposal research, whether related to health, to industry, to agriculture, to social problems or other problems. You have to address the economic impact of this problem if it is already existing. The second fundamental part of the section of introduction is a short review. This review should touch the core of the subject, should be concise, interesting, and not boring, should adequately cite the previous similar work, and should be provided by some updated references. The third fundamental part of the section of introduction is limitations of the existing literature. You have to convince the reader of the importance of your research proposal by giving some reasons for investigating this particular subject. The fourth fundamental part of the section of introduction is how to avoid problems of the previous studies. You should explain how your proposal will help solving some of the problems of the already existing literature. The fifth fundamental part of the section of introduction is what will you add? You have to explain how your proposal will add some of the new information to those existing in the literature. The rationale of the study proposal or the study hypothesis must be very strong and very clear. The sixth and the final fundamental part of the section of introduction is presentation of the relevant previous work of any of the contributors, if any. Address any relevant previous work done by the research team, if any. This could be a research or a pilot study or a patent. Then the aim of the work or the objectives. The proposal should answer a timely and important question, and the aim should be achievable by the methods. List your objectives clearly, and it is preferable to be classified into wider objectives and then specific objectives. Please avoid redundant or vague statements. This is the way how the sections of introduction and objectives of your research proposal will be evaluated by the reviewer. The reviewer will ask the following questions. Are the objectives clear? Is the importance of the proposal adequately emphasized? Is the subject matter of the project new? Is previous work on the subject adequately cited? Then materials and methods. The section of materials and methods consists of 5 fundamental parts. The first is materials, the second is methods, the third is study design, the fourth is statistical analysis, and the fifth is ethical considerations. Writing the section of materials and methods in the research proposal is similar to that of writing an original article. So please go to the lecture of how to write an original article and go to the section of materials and methods. Then the section of the budget. The section of the budget is very important and must be filled according to the instructions of the research funder. This sheet is an example of a table requested by the Science and Technology Development Fund, which is an important funder in Egypt, and it differs according to each specific funder. You can observe here, this item includes the incentives. This will be distributed as following. The team member, which is the PI or the principal investigator, it must be only one. Then the co-PI or the co-principal investigator must be only one. Then researcher A, which include a PhD holder, researcher B, which include a master holder, and researcher C, which include the bachelor degree of science holder, then manual laborers, technicians, and consultants. Each of these could contain more than one. Then the percentage of time spent on the project by each of them, then the monthly incentives, then the number of months, and the total budget of each item. And then item B is the equipment. This should be demonstrated in a special sheet. Then item C, which include the expendable supplies and materials. This could be stationery or miscellaneous and laboratory supplies like the chemicals kits or glassware, and the total expendable supplies and materials. Then the cost of travel, whether international or domestic travels, then other direct costs like computer supplies and services like the software, the printer cartridges, or printing of drawings. And there is no laptops or PC are allowed in this item. Then the costs of publication, training, and workshops, and the other direct costs. And this is the time schedule or the Gantt chart, which is very important. Here is the task number divided as the task, the main task, then subtasks, for example, task number 1, and then subtasks number 1.1 and 1.2. Then task number 2, subtasks number 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, etc. Here the title of the task and subtask. Here is the start date of the task and subtask. Here the end date of the tasks and subtasks, the duration of the tasks in months, and here is the timetable of distribution in months in a duration of 2 years. In the first year starts by month number 1 and ends at month number 12, and in year number 2 starts by month number 13 and ends at month number 24. The cells highlighted in yellow explains the main tasks, and the cells highlighted in green, this will demonstrate the subtasks. The cells highlighted in red here are the timing of sending reports. We have to send financial report and technical report at these time points, at month number 6, month number 12, month number 18, and month number 24. And here is the expected measurement outcomes of the successful implementation of each task. Then the project management. Divide the research work into work packages or tasks or activities. State clearly the role of each researcher team member in the different tasks or activities. Tasks or activities should be listed in the order in which they will be executed. Then project statement. This item is specific for the Science and Technology Development STDF of Egypt. It is a special research proposal called USAID, which include collaboration between United States and Egypt. State if any member of the team have ever received funding from a previous cycle of the US-Egypt Joint Fund. Indicate the following, if any: the project cycle, the period, and the team member of the project, the main output and measure findings, then discuss how the previous work will affect the current proposal. Then the expected outcome. You have to explain in details what are your expectations. You have to explain how your proposal will add to the scientific community and what are the economic benefits that will be provided by your proposal to both the local and international communities. It is better to divide the expected outcome into two items. The first is the technical output and impact, and the second is the financial feasibility and socio-economic impact. For describing the technical output and impact, it is better to avoid general benefits and focus on specific and measurable benefits only. For example, a know-how or patent, a product, a prototype, publishing in an international journal, or preparing a PhD or master thesis. In describing the financial feasibility and socio-economic impact, describe how the society or market would benefit from the project outputs. Indicate if there is any potential interest or investment opportunity for the research output. Provide a financial feasibility study for your project reflecting why the funding agency would choose to invest in your project. Then the section of references. The style could be alphabetical or Vancouver. The style should be chosen according to the instructions of the research funder to the researchers. For example, the STDF of Egypt used the alphabetical style. And finally, the endorsement letter. It must be prepared by the legal representative of the PI institution, stating the project title, the name and position and the affiliation of the principal investigator in charge of the proposal, that the project idea was not funded or submitted to another agency, whether national or international, or otherwise declare, and that the institution approves the project. And as stated before, the abstract is the first to appear and the last to be written. The abstract should contain the following components: a summary of the background and objectives, summary of the materials and methods, summary of the expected outcome, and the Arabic translation. This is a special item required by the STDF of Egypt. Then the character of the abstract. According to the STDF of Egypt, it must be not structured, with no references, written in a lay or in non-technical terms, and should be comprehensible to a non-expert. Then the third of the basic triad of writing a research proposal is basic knowledge of the mechanics of writing. Please go to my previous lecture entitled How to Write an Original Article. Thank you very much.